Hi everybody, back again. Today I'm going to teach you about concerto. So the assignment really is just to listen and learn, and then I'm going to throw up a few links to some famous concertos. And then one of the things that you could do, not as an assignment, but just for fun, is for your particular instrument, go ahead and find a concerto or somebody that is a great soloist. So there's some history here. Uh, Dates back to 1900, which is about the end of Beethoven, which is the end of the Romantic period, and then into 1920 when movies first came out. So some nerdy music history for you there to kind of put everything into perspective. So before 1920, and even before the Industrial Revolution in America, entertainment was hard to come by. So this is where we brought and borrowed things from the Italian opera. That's where we get operas from Italy. And then we borrowed a lot from concerto performers, I guess you could call them. So what a concerto is, it really boils down to showing off on your instrument. And that's the whole basis of being a concerto soloist. So you know a concerto when you see it or hear it, because sometimes it has a lot of notes in it, or it demonstrates the range of an instrument. This is kind of where we get the phrase diva from. That's an Italian term, and that is borrowed from the Italian opera. And of course, a diva is someone that sings a solo and oftentimes gets that persona as being really snotty and feeling like they're above everybody else. Well, that's kind of true. That's what happens when you become a soloist, is you kind of get an ego and you become famous for those type of things. So I'm going to demonstrate two concertos for you, and one from two different time periods. The last video I played a romantic solo for you. That was a French composer, Camille Saint-Saëns, and that was very romantic when I was trying to show you the two-bar phrase things. This is from a German composer now. Graffe is his name, and this is another romantic period piece, but it's toward the end of the romantic period. This was written in 1900, so this is about the end of Beethoven's time, and probably the peak of the romantic time period. So true to concerto form, this is going to demonstrate the range of an instrument. So not too fast, not too showy, but it's supposed to demonstrate the range of the soloist. Okay, so those last two notes actually spanned 3 octaves. So that is kind of a way to show off how high you can play and show off how low you can play all in one solo. And I hope you noticed a ton of jumps in what I was playing. So a lot of leaps in there. And again, that just is go to show what the soloist can do. This is another one from the Baroque period. So the difference being still a concerto, but the difference now is, gotta move my camera, showing off, now I'm gonna play a lot of notes. So the Baroque period was known for how many notes can you play. So now we're talking about Johann Sebastian Bach. He was most famous as an organist. So, he played with 2 hands and 2 feet. So he became very famous as a church organist. And then he kind of made the rules on how to make music and how to follow music. But the thing about the Baroque period is showing off how many notes you can get in, how many notes you can play. A lot of trills, woodwind players, you would have a lot of trills and things like that. So here's an example of a Baroque concerto. So a lot of fast notes in there, as much as you can play. This one in particular right here. That's one example of how to play a lot of fast notes. And that, again, back to the woodwind thing, lots of trilling and lots of finger exercises. So some fundamentals that go along with playing a concerto. And then I'll let you go for tonight, and I'll put some more postings up for that. And then I'll end the video with a few examples of ways that you can go hunt out and look for some concertos on your own. Just the playing a lot of notes there, and again, going back to the 2-bar phrase video I showed you, boy, we talk a lot about breathing. And this one is breathing because you need it, not to plan it out, but because you've exhausted all you can go, and you need it. You need to, and the art of getting a quick breath to get all those notes in. So the 2 examples I showed today were the romantic, the range of the instrument, and then the second with the Baroque example. Being the speed of the notes and the amount of notes that you can cram in. So just 2 examples of a concerto and how a concerto soloist can show off. So, and that's nothing about me. That's just what they are, and those are the two solos that I've studied. And if you could have seen me and the amount of warm-up time I had and the amount of practice time I had before I made this video, you would probably recognize and know that it's not an easy task just to pick up the horn and go do it. Okay, so here are some examples that I would suggest you look at. For percussion students, anything by Buddy Rich, anything by Neil Peart. Those are fairly recent names that you might know, but those are definitely concertos type of soloists, people that are used to showing off and show their technique and show the extreme of their capabilities. So those are 2 for percussion students. Woodwinds, I would have to look. I'd have to kind of search for those type of people. So nothing comes to the top of my head for a woodwind player, but two for brass players would be the Bluebells of Scotland. And Joe Alessi does a great job of doing that. He is the principal trombone player in the New York Philharmonic. He's also the trombone professor at Juilliard right now. And then Doc Severinsen, he's a trumpet player. He does one on a song called Carnival of Venice. So I'll be putting up some of those videos, probably one by Buddy Rich, one by the Joe Alessi, the Bluebells of Scotland, and probably one by Doc Severinsen, the trumpet player. So there's, and if I can find a woodwind one, I'll put that one up too, just so you know. But I'm sure there are a ton out there. We just have to search for them. So I really enjoyed teaching you about a concerto today and what it means to be a musician that can show off a little bit. And when you get down to it, it's all about the range and capability of not only the player, but of your instrument. So a concerto is a great way to demonstrate that. So hope you're all hanging in there. Hope that you get outside and enjoy the sunshine when we have it, and enjoy the warm weather when we get it, and keep yourselves occupied. And I'm having a lot of fun doing these videos, but it gets me more excited to spend time with you again when we get back to school. So good luck finding a concerto, and just sit back and listen. So for Wednesday's assignment is just to sit back and listen to a concerto.